What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the channel. Today we are taking a closer look at the Diatone GT R349. It is a 135mm 3-inch FPV racer, and you can choose from the black canopy, the clear canopy, which I have here today, and also a white canopy version. But it will only come in the PNP version, which means it does not come with a receiver. So you will have to supply your own receiver. Now, I've already done a flight test video with this quadcopter with a line of sight test flight and also an FPV test flight with a 3S battery and also with a 4S battery. And it flew great with the provided configuration that it came with right out of the box. So the quadcopter is a squashed X-frame unibody constructed carbon fiber frame design, and the thickness is measuring in at slightly over 4mm in thickness all around. I measured it all over the place, and I was getting right around 4.2 to about 4.4mm. So I'm going to call it at 4.3mm thick carbon fiber frame. Now the carbon fiber frame is also very smooth to the touch, as you can see. It is rounded off on the edges, and it is also as if it was like sanded down and also like polished. So it feels really, really nice. And also take a look at the screws that they use for the bottom, motor screws as well as the standoff screws. If you look at it from the side, it is machine cut around the edges, and the screw holes are slightly sunk in as well. And the front and the rear standoff screws on the bottom locations have indentations on the plate itself, so it is helping to keep the bottom surface flat. So they really paid attention to detail, and it will show throughout this quadcopter. The canopy is held down by 2 screws from the front, which screw up into the canopy from the bottom, and there is this receiving nut, and it is in a slot in the shape of the nut into the canopy, so it doesn't spin while you're trying to tighten the screw. Now, don't you just hate it when you have to hold the nut from spinning while tightening up the screw, especially if there's no space to be had. So another attention to detail once again. Now, the rear of the canopy is held down by 2 screws from the top, screwing into these pillar standoffs that are embedded into the canopy itself. And there's 2 more screws that are holding it down from the bottom of the quadcopter for a solid fit. And check out the camera protection up in the front here with a couple of protrusions on each side of the camera, and it will protect the lens of the camera no matter the angle of the up tilt of the camera. Now, in the back of the canopy, there's this little hole here, and I'm not sure what this hole is for, but it kind of looks like it could be for a mini buzzer perhaps, or something like that, because it has 2 small little holes on the bottom, maybe for the power source and the ground source, but it is just left just like this without any use out of the box. So taking a look at the motors, they are the Mamba Racing 1408 4000 kV motors. There's the logo right here, and they are the 4000 kV motors, and the props that we are given are the GemFan Flash 3052 tri-bladed prop. Now, they only give you 1 set of these props, but this combo here will provide plenty of power with the 3S, and this thing is just a rocket with a 4S. So the motors are attached to the Mamba 25, the 20 amp D-Shot 600 ESCs, and the flight controller right above it is the Mamba F405 mini flight controller, which, by the way, is soft mounted, as you can see here, and they are capable of 3 to 4S input power. Now, the flight controller also came with Betaflight OSD built in, and it came with version 3.5.1 firmware, and the target of the firmware is the Fury F4 OSD. Now, since it came as a PNP version without a receiver, I have chosen to put the XM Plus FR Sky receiver. Now, the flight controller came with receiver wires already primed. You can see the white signal wire, the red 5-volt wire, and the black ground wire. They were already primed, but they left the signal wire, which is this white wire, and the S-bus pad, which is soldered on at the moment, tinned but not soldered together. But the 5-volt and the black ground wires came already soldered onto the flight controller, which is a nice touch because you might not be using this S-bus pad. So all I had to do was solder the white wire to the S-bus pad and solder on my XM Plus receiver, and I just double-sided the receiver to the top plastic board on the top of the deck. Now take a look at this. There are a couple of antenna shafts built in to the backside of the canopy. So I put the antenna wires through from the top and come out the bottom and zip tied it to the hind legs. But you are also able to just route them from the bottom, the antenna wires that is, and make it come out from the top just like a little whip antenna on both sides if you like. And check this out. There's also a 25-volt capacitor soldered onto the flight controller as well. And also it came with this XT30 connector, which I have just zip tied to the hind legs. Now in the front we have the RunCam Micro Swift CCD camera with a 600 TV line, 2.1 millimeter lens, and this thing has a whopping field of view of 160 degrees, and it is paired with the RunCam TX200U VTX, which is piggybacked behind the FPV camera. So this makes for a premium all-in-one VTX unit. Now it also supports the IRC tramp protocol, so you can change the channels, the bands, and the power output via the OSD menu using your FPV goggles or your FPV monitor with your transmitter out in the field. Now, the VTX itself comes locked with limited channels, and it is set to 25 milliwatts out of the box. So a long pressing of the single button here right in the back where I got my screwdriver, long pressing of this button for about 10 seconds will unlock the VTX and provide you with all 48 channels and the switchable ability from 25 milliwatts to 200 milliwatts. And it is indicated by a solid red light once it is unlocked in the back. Now, holding the button down for about 5 seconds will switch the power output from 25 milliwatt to 200 milliwatt, and a solid yellow light will indicate it is set to 200 milliwatt. Now, I'll link the RunCam product page down below in the video description so you can check it out for yourself. Now, the VTX antenna is a 2 dB pigtail omnidirectional antenna, and it is attached to the VTX via an IPEX connector. If I can show you that right there, I'm pointing at it with my screwdriver, and it is zip tied also to the side of the canopy out of the box. So you might want to stand it up right around here to get a little better video signal. All right, so here's all the stuff that came with the quadcopter in the box, and here is a little pamphlet, and this one's got the flight controller diagram of the Mamba F405 on this side, and we got the diagram of the flight controller and all of the pinouts on the Mamba F405 mini flight controller. And we also get a couple of Velcro straps, Diatone branded Velcro straps, and they're nice Velcro straps in 2 different lengths, so you can choose either one depending on what size battery you are using. And we get a bag of screws, all different lengths of screws, so that is really nice. And we also get the non-slip battery pad in little cutouts, so you can place it anywhere you want. And we also get an XT30 connector with a couple of nylon standoff nuts, so that is very nice. And we also get a bunch of zip ties and a harness connecting the flight controller to the ESCs. So I've already uploaded a couple of flight videos of this quadcopter, in which one of them is the flight test video and the other is a free flight video. Now the flight test video is using the PIDs that it came with right out of the box, and the free flight video is using the Betaflight default PIDs. So this thing is coming in at a price of $139, but there is a coupon code to save you 8%. Now, I think the pricing is just right, even without the use of the coupon code, since it is a very well-made quadcopter with a lot of attention to detail. And did I mention that it has tons of power with a 3S, and it is just a rocket with a 4S. Now, I will leave the links to the flight videos and the link for the product in the video description down below, so you can check it out for yourself. So coming up next then are some clips of the flight test video followed by the free flight video. So I hope you enjoyed this review video of the Diatone GT R349, the 2019 model. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. Have a great day, and we shall see you again next time.
Welcome to OpenTX.
So this is just about our maiden flight with this Diatone GT R349, and seems to be pretty decent with a 3S. Okay. I think that's pretty decent of a punch for a 3S battery on this one. What I have is another 3S battery, and this time it's a 850 milliamp Infinity Graphene. I believe it's 80C. Do a little punch. And the tune is really nice. And this thing has tons of power with the 3S. Alright, here we go once again with the Diatone GT R349. This time we're going to check it out with the 4S battery. Yeah, definitely a lot more power. With a 4S for sure. Man, this thing is a rocket on 4S. Oh yeah. Awesome punch out. Oh yeah, this thing is a rocket, guys. Let's go and check it out with the 4S. Ooh, lots of power. Nice.